Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back another video from Totally Not Mark and technically Team 4-Star here. So this is a video I never got the chance to actually react to back in the day. And I'm kind of glad because this works out quite well. This is a behind the scenes look at the Cell Saga from Team 4-Star, collaboration with Totally Not Mark. And I figured now that we've actually checked out all of the creator commentaries from Team 4-Star off of the 4-Star Bento channel, I thought it'd be cool to see what they actually did initially. You know, what was the first behind-the-scenes thing they did before deciding to do the creator commentary series that we have checked out, which was awesome. It was absolutely boss. Yeah, let's get into this.
Hi, I'm Lanny Pator.
And I'm Kaiser Neko.
And this is Dragon Ball Z Abridged Behind the Scenes.
Episode 3.
The finale.
Because I'm sure we checked out the other two. Can't remember if we did. Like, this, we're going like a couple of years ago now, aren't we? But yeah.
The Saiyan and Frieza sagas made up the first 2 seasons and 5 years of Team 4-Star's Dragon Ball Z Abridged series, during which they transformed from a quaint online parody show to a fully fledged comedy production viewed by literally tens of millions of people per episode. With
So good.
drastically improved voice acting, editing, and writing across the board, their little series quickly elevated to never-before-seen heights once Episode 30's climax graced our screens. However, perhaps the most impressive aspect of this was that their very best was yet to be seen. The next and final 5 years of their production covered possibly the most popular and anticipated chapter in the Dragon Ball story.
Mate, the Cell Saga is phenomenal with Team 4-Star, mate.
The Cell Saga.
Hell
And boy,
yeah.
did they deliver.
Oh yeah.
Guys, we don't have much time! Freezer's here!
With each season, Dragon Ball Z Abridged became more and more complex. How did you deal with the increased scope of the series as it progressed?
Transition into Season 3 was actually pretty easy because it was a natural evolution from what we were doing
Oh, this is so interesting to see this now before the... Yeah.
already in Season 2, which was, okay, we have these characters, now let's let them...
Breathe.
Yeah, let's let them breathe, let's see what they can do.
Some
and
downtime.
what they would do in these given situations.
Super Saiyan.
We're adapting with what the tastes were at the time, what our tastes were specifically, and just trying to up our game in pretty much every level. And I know you took on way more tasks when it came to like
The
cutting
editing
things
and
out of
stuff.
scenes,
Yeah,
putting
yeah.
things where they didn't belong. In the Cell games, we got rid of 3 entire characters.
We got rid
Specifically,
of...
you got rid of them.
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
rid of Karoni, Piroshki, and Pisa because we
Yeah, the 3 tag-alongs with Hercule, wasn't it? Yeah.
hated them.
They added nothing.
They didn't
They're
have
the
a...
worst.
Yeah.
They are the worst. They are the worst addition the anime ever made.
You heard that, Space Orphans and Bulma the Frog?
At least
you
they
heard
were
that.
their own secluded
It's true.
episodes. Like,
And it's interesting that still... So it's not, you know that he's being genuine because he really doubled down on the creator commentary.
except for the Space Frog. The Space Frog was ugly. But
Yeah,
yeah,
they were not fun.
like Piroshki, Karoni, and Pisa ruin Satan's joke. Satan's whole thing in that arc is ruined because of those characters.
Yeah, they should
because
not
they
be
are
there.
Worst versions of his joke, and I hate them. They ruin his entrance. They just take up time and space.
Ilushki and Karoni, and we are...
Gone, see it.
His entire thing is that he's supposed to be like humanity's pinnacle. He is the fish out of water there.
Yeah.
That is way out of his scope, trying to pretend he has his
Great choice to get rid of them.
shit together.
Leave me out of this!
He had established these characters, and now it was time to write character-based humor. Because a lot of the humor before was kind of like, oh, look at this silly scene, let's subvert the scene. Where now we were writing of, okay, now we have these characters, let's play this scene with those characters and see how it pans out.
And it's also where we decided to actually give some of the people that didn't have characters a little bit more time to breathe, like Tien
Yamcha.
and Yamcha and Chaozu, who became significantly snarkier after dying the second time.
Oh, yeah.
No, when he comes back a second time, he has died twice and he doesn't have to
I absolutely loved writing for Chaozu in a lot of those scenes where it's just like, oh, I don't give a shit. Whatever, I've died twice.
Your discretion is advised.
Yeah.
One thing you'll notice is that season 3 is full of straight men. like all over the place. Tenshinhan's got a bigger role, 17 and 18, Piccolo. You've got all of these characters that are a lot more down to earth. It's not like Nappa or Popo or Goku. Hell, Gohan steps up to be the hero of that
was
season.
the hardest to write
The
for.
hardest to write for. Oh, and Trunks. Trunks' entire character in that saga is that he really wants to be the cool hero, and he's just not. He's a
Yeah, he's constantly just being beaten down and just being told, no.
failure. Trunks' whole thing is that he tries and fails, but he never gives
No,
up.
He
no, he
wants to
does
be cool.
not.
He's a teenager. He wants to be accepted by these people he grew up hearing about, the people he knows as heroes. It's like a kid meeting the Justice League and wanting to prove himself.
Yeah, and then finding out that the Justice League is something Lord
Super incompetent.
yeah, just either full of assholes or idiots.
Okay,
It's like when he goes back in the epilogue, it's like, hey, Mom, you ever met Dad?
Trunks, don't be nervous. He's just a normal guy. Just introduce yourself. So, you're Sun Wukong, right?
Damn it! I'm Son Goku, yes?
Roll with it.
It was easier and harder in different ways. Easier because luckily we had established these characters and now they could just bounce off each other very naturally. But harder in that we had a lot more straight men and serious moments to deal with.
Well, Frieza, looks like you dropped the ball. Dropped the ball.
While having a deep, comprehensive understanding of how the show would play out from start to finish was indeed a huge help in the writer's room. As the show went on, the writing standards for the series shot higher and higher also, and that very unwavering commitment to quality meant the show would take longer to produce with each passing season. Has it always taken a long time to write these episodes? What was the quickest turnover time you've had for one?
Sometimes it can take a lot longer, though. Sometimes it goes a lot quicker. Sometimes it's a Bojack.
The turnaround time
Oof, doesn't happen.
after it's been written, usually there's the directing, then there's the editing, and the editing process can be harder or easier depending on the kind of jokes that we write,
I suppose it depends on what you want to try and deliver and what you want to edit out and change and blah, 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 yeah.
the length. It's about an 80-hour process after the actual scripting.
Typically, when we're actually, working on this stuff, there's no break in there either. For a big chunk of season 3, I can't remember what the streak was, but we were going for like a year and a half straight on some of that stuff, and it wore us down.
How? When a goddamn Super Saiyan asks you for a sensu bean, bald man, you say how many?
When you burn out on the creative process, you can't push through that. You don't push through that. You have to give space, you have to recoup, you have to pull yourself away because you push yourself through writer's block, not through burnout.
For so long,
That's so true. Burnout is a thing, man. I felt it. I'm good now. I'm good at the moment. But back in the day, where I think I went 6 months straight, 3 videos a day. I woke up and cried.
I think it's the pipe dream of ours to say, like, hey, we're going to sit down and we're going to write multiple episodes. We're going to write out a season and we're going to work on that little by little and release it on a regular schedule. But that comes with its own big complications because then you have to stop everything else in order to do specifically one thing
Yeah.
for a block period. And you got bills to pay, man. It's hard.
Maintaining a single project's momentum for over 12 years is a difficult task for any studio.
That's a long time. That's a long time.
However, if you add constant copyright claims,
Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, I had issues doing just reactions to the commentary series, so, like, imagine what they had to with the original stuff.
countless takedowns, and the inability to monetize your work to the list of things working against you, it's not hard to imagine shows like this being abandoned after just a few episodes. However, Team 4 Star
They
stuck
stuck
with
with
this
it,
show
yeah.
despite all of these hardships for 2 main reasons: a love for the source material and a desire to entertain and uplift fans like you and I around the world. Whether it
They
be
loved
through
it.
scenes like Krillin's death on Namek or Vegeta's pink shirt, no moment was too big or too small to inject their trademark wit and personality.
Yep.
You've mentioned a number of times at various panels that you don't normally plan ahead, but you do have jokes in mind, sometimes in advance. What joke have you waited the longest to tell?
The longest.
You have heard probably the one that we planned the furthest ahead, and that was the destruction of the own count. Android
Yes.
18 and Krillin. I mean, we didn't
Love
have the
that.
whole joke written out or anything like that, but
But you wanted it destroyed, and that was boss.
we knew that that was going to be the payoff of the own counter.
Hell yes.
That was the one that we probably planned the furthest ahead for when
Right.
it comes to actual jokes. There were a lot in season 3 that we planned ahead on. That was definitely the one that we waited the longest on.
Dragon Ball Z originally aired in Japan between 1989 and 1996.
96.
However, the majority of us Western fans would likely have discovered the show during its initial international run from 1996
Yeah,
through
late
to
90s.
2003. When Team 4-Star took over the Abridged project 6 years later in 2008, its run until 2019 would be only a couple years shy of the original broadcast and international runs combined.
Right.
With a small team of people, an insane amount of passion and love went into making Dragon Ball Z Abridged a reality, a series many of us fans will surely be revisiting for years to come. Do you have any favorite or least favorite moments from the Abridged series?
In Lord Slug, one of my favorite jokes that we ever did is that Looney Tunes moment where Piccolo is fighting Dota
Oh, and he keeps going in the building, coming out, going in the building, coming out.
Dabo,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and he, like, breaks his arm.
This is
kicks him off
brilliant. The editing on that's
the
fantastic.
rooftop. We just do this Looney Tunes thing where he keeps going back up, getting knocked back down.
All right, go for the left. He won't see me coming from the Fine.
So,
I'll wait down here and catch him off guard.
so good.
How's it going?
This is one that always comes back to me as a line that I personally really liked and resonated great with the audience, which was,
Trunks, you couldn't fathom the amount of dead men behind me.
Some of our actual favorite moments from the series, as
Cell's lines.
you know, people that made it, are some of those more serious moments that do resonate very well. Tackling Gohan going Super Saiyan 2, redoing the entire score for that.
which I pushed for.
You pushed for a very long time.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna get a rescored. I'm gonna get a new singer.
Hell
it's gonna
yeah.
be English.
It's so good.
It's gonna be fucking crazy.
To me.
Actually, I thought of another favorite.
Oh.
And this is one that, like, it's just, I was just very proud of us when we did it. Because when we were watching through the scene itself, we noticed that they implemented the Wilhelm scream.
Oh yes!
It had nothing to do with any actual characters. It was just two Frieza soldiers talking back and forth.
Doesn't it sound like...
Nah, dude, it's more like.
No, that wasn't it either.
I just thought that, like, that was one of my proudest comedic moments.
No, that's great.
As
That's
for
great.
least favorite.
If I had to go with
Ooh.
one specifically, it might be the swapping of Raditz's actor fighting over the microphone thing.
Double shot! No! Give me the mic! What? No, come on, man!
Right.
Give me the mic!
Actually, I have one. The nightmare scene that Bulma has of Vegeta.
Oh, yeah.
I regret how we wrote that scene because it was unnecessarily dark. And it was back during a time where
That sort of dark humor was all the rage.
Right, yeah, yeah,
I'm
everyone's.
not here for the Dragon Ball.
What?
Spread 'em.
it's weird how
Yeah.
humor and comedy
Change over time, yeah.
things change so rapidly and so quickly, and the atmosphere, the ecosystem that within you work, it's so difficult to keep up with
Yeah.
it. It is a challenge in the day-to-day, and it's not one that I like to complain about because, hell, everybody's got that problem. All creatives have that problem, but it definitely keeps you on your toes.
I think it's probably been a thing that kind of helps, though, just like the long form of how we worked with the show is just like, as we went on, we did adapt and we
Yeah.
did change.
It's hard to say we objectively got better, but I would definitely,
I'd say you did, definitely.
it stands to reason to say that over time we improved our writing, our editing, our acting, everything
Oh, yeah, definitely.
got better as time went on. And I legitimately don't believe that we would have done that if we weren't challenged, if we didn't want so desperately to keep things fresh.
Compelling characters are the heart of any narrative, and so Team 4-Star was given the task of taking Dragon Ball's expansive cast, most of whom many of us have known since childhood, and molding them into a caricatured version of themselves, all the while maintaining their recognizable personalities.
They did such a good job with 16, 17, and 18, man. Like, they did. And it made, their approach made so much sense as well.
For the most part.
Like, 16 leveled them out. And then when they went to the future, they were just absolute dicks because 16 wasn't there to level them out.
In the Abridged series, you've written characters like Vegeta, Goku, and Frieza as exaggerated versions of the original characters, but Cell seems to be doing his own thing entirely. How did you approach writing him?
Taka, I was about to say Taka, man. He nails it.
In the writing room, when it comes to characters that are voiced by one of the writers, that writer will be way more prominent in coming up with some of the stuff for that character. Now, as
Hell
Cell
yeah.
went
And he voiced all 3 forms as well. It's like, wow.
on, as he became, like, you know, Perfect Cell, Imperfect Cell was Taka doing his best to make the most weird, disturbing, but incredible...
The villain from Men in Black.
Like, just like deranged.
For Imperfect Cell,
I believe at the time he said he wanted to.
Oh
be
no, sorry, that's semi-imperfect. Imperfect Cell was just, I'm evil.
a cross between
I'm gonna suck you dry, kind of thing. Yeah.
Beetlejuice and Wishmaster. Like that
Yeah.
kind of a character where it's like, okay, I'm gonna.
And he does such good, and he gets to do it second time around with the epilogue.
I'm gonna
so
get
good.
you, but I'm gonna have fun while I'm doing it. I'm
It's when they do the Frank Sinatra. Again with the voice there. He's like, hey, wait, let me finish.
I'm here to flex on you.
His introduction is one of my favorite scenes.
He's a great villain. The way he's introduced is absolutely fantastic. And the behind, he's like, you still got the android thing going on, but him in the background. It's brilliant.
From that arc, like, bar none, that's, oh no, my favorite scene, actually, this scene may be my favorite scene that I've ever worked on, is when TJ
and the Wombat
doing their radio show and corresponding with their show.
Yeah.
You have Cell wandering around.
The horror
eating
aspect
people,
of
and you don't
it.
see him on screen. You constantly see him just off screen, his shadow. You never actually see him for the most part. And as it goes on, the town becomes a ghost town. And then at the very last second, he's breaks
at the radio
into the
station.
studio.
He's just there, yeah.
Video Killed the Radio Star plays in the background. And then the last thing you hear is the song playing before it cuts to black. And
You had a lot of fun editing that scene, and we had a lot of fun coming up with and writing, because that was the most different scene I think we ever did.
Yeah.
For at least that season, maybe for the whole show, just because it allowed us to be way more creative than anything we had done previously.
Yeah. And I remember we were like, okay, how do we make this scene work if there's no dialogue? And then
We were debating
Make it like a horror.
cutting the Nicky Town scene, but the scene preceding it with Cell talking to himself was just too good.
Hey there, Cherry. What's your name? My name is Nicky Town. Who are you? Name's Cell. And you are looking fine.
Imperfect Cell specifically was easily the creepiest character we worked with, if only because he is literally a monster that eats people.
Yeah.
We wanted to make
He sucks people dry.
a character that was highly unsettling and yet could be very funny. And that's why you have scenes where he's talking to himself.
Yelling at the bus driver who's honking at him after he whips his head 180 degrees around with us, like playing Jeepers Creepers, because we were making a Jeepers Creepers 2 reference
of
there.
course, yeah.
Beep.
It was a very fun character to work with because he's such a different villain early on. Eventually, he just kind of becomes Frieza meets a Saiyan. Like, his prominence...
Yeah. But then just make him just a very arrogant bastard.
characteristics shift dramatically towards Frieza and Vegeta at the more perfect side of his life cycle.
Of course, semi-perfect Cell is one of those.
I'd be interested to see if they mention where the reference comes from.
He's like that weird puberty stage, even in the original version, is a little...
He's possessive, he's domineering, he's cocksure. He knows he's not perfect.
So this is what lips feel like.
That character is sort of interesting because he kind of looks and sounds like an idiot, but we also wrote some scenes where he's legitimately intimidating. And then when Perfect Cell came along, it was really just, okay,
Now
he's perfect. I don't give a damn about any of you motherfuckers.
He's in control, he loves what he's doing, and he just wants to have the best fight he can because of the Goku in him.
Yeah, he's got it all. It's like, I want to fight. I'm going to fight. I'm the best. I want Test me. Test me.
What do you think of our glorious battleground?
It's alright. Kinda small, ain't it?
I prefer intimate.
Wrote him and Goku in that arc to be fight sexual. They
I love that. Fight sexual. They never said that. Yeah, that's great.
treat fighting like fucking. That's their whole thing.
They love the art of fighting, and they treat it like the most intimate relationship it could possibly be.
Which is why when Goku switches out for Gohan, he's like,
So, you knew what this was. Just a fight.
Fight.
Nothing more.
You
Bitch.
While Goku and Cell's conflicting personalities played well with their mutual love for fighting, the true highlight of the Cell saga would undoubtedly be the titular character's clash with the young Son Gohan. With his Super Saiyan 2 transformation being a fan favorite, many of whom hailing it as the best moment the original series produced, both hype and expectations among viewers was understandably high. However, just before the climactic battle would commence, the show seemingly vanished.
I quit. Go on, get him. What?
Nani?
In a year.
What exactly brought on the hiatus, and how
Brilliant.
did that affect the writing of the last episodes? How far in advance was the hiatus planned, if at all?
I can't really say that the hiatus was planned.
Yeah, I don't think it was planned. Like, no, they just really wanted it to just be right.
So much. Part of it was due to burnout. We'd worked very, very hard on that.
And there we go. Because like they said, like they really wanted to do the Boo Saga. They really wanted to do the BoJack movie, but like they just ended it on such a. I feel like the epilogue was kind of like not forced, but like they didn't need to. But like they felt like Trunks needed an ending. But yeah, bless them. They did a lot for the last few episodes.
That season, we had been more involved with the show during that arc than I feel like we've ever been before, because something you'll notice, the editing for season 3 is a step above season 2, just as season 2 is a step above season 1.
Yeah, everyone's
we started
evolving,
getting actual
improving.
like new lip flaps for characters, new art, new assets, new animation. It was so much more involved. They were longer episodes. We were taking more and more care to make sure that they worked. We were getting new music, everything. We were trying to make season 3 as good as we possibly could. And at some point, man, it hit us hard that we needed some time to relax and take a step back and prepare for what was going to be a 3-part super.
Imagine being an animator in Japan that does this like professionally for their job, and they have to churn it out weekly. I know they didn't animate it from the bottom, but like it's similar, isn't it?
Long finale. But another reason was that we had actually moved to a new studio. We had gotten a new CEO. We were really kind of trying to refocus ourselves. One of the things that we realized was, hey, sooner or later, Dragon Ball Z Abridged is gonna end.
Yeah.
No matter what happened, we had a finite amount of episodes.
Yeah. And we needed to prepare for that. Because here's the thing, we had Let's Plays, and we had some small
there were other things going on at the time, but yeah.
reviews, and
And as things went on, I mean, Let's Plays on YouTube have dipped significantly over time anyway.
Yeah. We had to make a decision. We had to figure out what is the life of Team 4-Star beyond Dragon Ball Z Abridged.
And furthermore, what can we actually make money on?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So,
No, it's a legitimate thing though, isn't it? It's like you upload stuff professionally, like as your job to YouTube. You need to make sure you're getting the views in to actually make it like this is a side thing for me. Like I work full time, like, and that's going really well for me right now. And this thing is like it's fun, and people laugh at me for the amount of views I get. But I'm like, I do this because I enjoy doing it. You know what I mean? It's fun. I have a full-time job that I get paid for. If I make anything off of this, cool. I just enjoy checking these out, reacting to them, and uploading and doing the whole rigmarole. It's like it is a genuine hobby for me. It's great. But I would hate to be in these guys' shoes where it's like, we need to have stuff uploaded.
we had to make the decision to take a step back from Dragon Ball Z Abridged, give it some air, and focus on new projects. And, I will definitely apologize for making people wait, because, obviously I don't like making people wait on material. I didn't want to wait on material. I mean,
we know full well what people subscribed for.
Yeah.
We know.
Dragon Ball Z Abridged,
that's
what they were on there
people
for. Yeah.
might think we are.
Yeah.
We understand, but
But I will never, and I'll say this outright, I will never apologize for planning our future and working hard for it, because there are many wonderful people who work at this company, myself not included.
Look out for them.
And I would like to make sure that all of them have the opportunity to do the things that they love for a living.
It's really not uncommon for passion to conflict with responsibility over the course of a project's lifespan. Creating what you love may fill your heart, but oftentimes not your stomach, and DBZA, being a non-profit fan-made parody, made the gap between creative desire and financial necessity all the greater.
God, I can't imagine being in those shoes, man. That's crazy.
Still, however, Team 4-Star were steadfast in their commitment to the completion of Season 3, and having honed their writing chops over the first 2 seasons, they were confident in their ability to add a dramatic flair to the 5-year-long endeavor. In Season 3, you are much more willing to explore serious scenes.
Oh, mate, yeah, this is true. Like, Series 1, Series 2 didn't have that many serious stuff. Season 3 had loads.
Play them straight and even write your own. Was this the theme from the get-go with Season 3, or did it just sort of happen?
I won't lie, when we were writing out the scene with Goku leaving, we actually had to make the decision of whether or not he was going to say, "I love you." And we cut that, because it felt...
It doesn't feel Goku.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, and I love this. This is really cool to see this. This was before the creator commentary, and they're still saying stuff, you know, similar to. I like that. There's like they didn't just say all this and then did the creator commentary and it's all. This is legit. It's great.
But one of the things that I definitely wanted in there, and this line for some reason meant so much to me. And the line was,
"I'm proud of you, son."
Well, yeah,
that's me.
Yeah, that's your line. My line was actually, "That year we spent in the chamber was the greatest year of my life."
Yeah.
That was supposed to be Goku saying, "That time I spent with you, that was so important to me."
Because he's a fighter, and yeah, you were doing what he liked, loved, and enjoyed, and he was trying to connect with him.
That is Goku's way of saying, "I know we don't always see eye to eye on what the
But
things that we enjoy."
Tried.
But that made me very happy.
Bye, son.
That theme of fatherhood, that knowing that your father might be an imperfect person, and just being a kid and hearing those things.
And also, the dramatic irony of, "Bye, son."
Well, that was the one that was like my big sticking point. It's like, we've made this a running joke. Bye, son has been a running joke.
But then
It
it's
needs
serious
to be the
there.
emotional
It's like,
capper of this scene.
Which is so us, actually, to take a joke
It's so good. They wrote it so well.
and then make it be part of a big dramatic moment.
And hey, if we do make it out of this, please pick up my head and beat your father to death with.
Gohan going Super Saiyan 2, I think, was the one that we put the most, like, this
It's
is the moment
so
that we are going to
good.
play as straight-laced as possible. This is fan wankery. This is us doing a love letter to Dragon Ball Z, which essentially is what, like, the entire latter half of Season 3 was for us. Was just us trying to show how much we absolutely love this product.
I mean, yeah, it's true. If I had to say anything, Season 3 is our love letter. Top to bottom, actually. Speaking of love letters, during the credits, at the very end, there is a scene of 16 underneath a tree with a music box version of Unmei no Hi playing. Android 16, and I want to put emphasis on this character, was not a character I expected to love writing for when we started. By the end of the saga, Android 16 became my favorite character in that arc, maybe the show.
He was amazing. It was so simple, but just having such a simple character made such a change.
And it meant the world to me that he had a happy ending. Because he never got that in the original. He didn't get any kind of... Like,
just
he goes
done.
out with a tragic death that ultimately has no thematic relevance afterward. It just kind of, like, nothing ever comes back with it. There's no narrative follow-through.
It's just gone.
He dies, and then he doesn't get back because apparently he doesn't have a soul.
It's kind of ironic that he can be kind of the emotional core to a lot of those Android scenes, where, you know, they're just kind of focused on having fun and doing whatever they want because this is the first time they've had freedom in, like, since they've been Blade Runnered. So they just want to go out and do what they want when they want to do it, and they're just bringing 16 along because he has an objective. It's like, okay, we'll go do what you want to do.
But he levels them out.
And we'll do what we want to do doing it. he ends up being kind of their moral compass in
Yeah.
a lot of ways, which is really, I think, what kind of changed the timeline.
Yeah, I think the reason that Android
Definitely.
17 and 18 are different characters in that timeline is because 16 was there.
Yes.
This cannot get
And they did a really good job of pointing that out.
any dumber.
Agreed. Sure is a lot of not killing Goku going
Goku
on
right
right now.
now.
A deep understanding of the source material couldn't be clearer from some of the additions Team 4-Star made to the original script. Any long-running franchise will have its peaks and valleys, and fans know better than anyone what the community responded to and what they didn't. Despite the show starting out as a straight-up comedy like countless other abridged series that came before them, as the years went by, Kaiser, Lanny, and Taka began to see an opportunity to defy expectations, to catch viewers off guard, and to give Dragon Ball Z the respect they knew it deserved. It's much easier to make someone laugh than it is to make them cry. How did you approach the more dramatic...
That's interesting. I don't know. Me personally, I feel it's easier to make me cry than it is to make me laugh. God, what does that say about me? But anyway.
scenes like Goku and Gohan in episode 60?
If we were to expand any further on the idea of how we really approach that, it mostly comes down to our own personal psychologies at that point in our own life experiences, because you write what you know. To a certain extent, like, we all have our own relationships with our fathers, and we all believe in a certain ideal of fatherhood, but we also understand that people are imperfect, and part of growing up is realizing that your parents don't have have about as much figured out as you do when you hit that point in life.
Yeah.
And that's a frightening and startling realization for a lot of people. So Goku being able to admit to Gohan, who at this point in our series has been looking at him like this slack-jawed idiot who's irresponsible, who doesn't know what he's doing, and for Goku to be able to admit to him, I'm bad at this stuff. I'm good at fighting. I know how to do that. It's what I like doing. I didn't realize that you didn't. In many ways, apologizing for not recognizing these features in his son, but letting him know how proud he is of the person that he has become and will continue to grow to be.
I'm sorry. Fighting is... well, it makes me happy. And I just thought it would make you happy too.
I think when you're writing for a scene that is supposed to make people cry, first thing you have to do is establish a true emotional, human connection between either two of the characters.
Yeah, like, what is the conversation? Make it real. How does that connect? And then the people watching it get it.
Or the character in the audience.
More so, be real.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When I write for these scenes, one of the things that I go for is stark, raw emotion. With Piccolo and Kami breaks at a point. He breaks when he says, well, maybe I'd rather be dead instead of part of you. Why does he say that? Does he hate Piccolo? No, he doesn't hate Piccolo.
It's because they were the same
person,
and he hates that part of himself. But we all have a part of ourselves that we hate, that we wish we could get rid of.
But he also notes that he's been stuck in the same place for a long time. He notes that this was a prison. This place is a prison for me. I am stuck here. Like, he even mentions all the things that happen down there I can't do anything about because I can't leave. And then he mentions to Piccolo, if I put myself inside of you, all I've done is trade one prison for another. And that's a little peek into what was Kami's life like.
Now the only chance I have left is giving up my free will to someone else. It's just another prison.
And then when it comes to the Android 16 scene, when I wrote that scene was supposed to be about a young man who loves his father and trying to communicate with him.
In a manner of speaking, trying to follow in his footsteps, as his dad was part of the Red Ribbon Army. He's like, hey, I'm gonna, do you proud, Dad.
Yep.
I might not be as smart as you are, but I'm gonna
do something for the
go out there and
cause.
do my job for this thing that you believe in.
And that's why during that
was a great scene as well, and it was really cool that they added that in. Like, they genuinely cared, man.
Video call that he has with his father. I sat down with Joshua Remix, and I really told him, okay, this delivery has to be as human as possible. There's no joke in this scene.
Yeah, take the android out of 16 and just be like what he was before.
It's just a young man talking with his father.
Yeah, shooting him a message.
Yeah. With a fucking bird in the background.
We gotta go! Okay, sorry about this, Dad. Gotta run. Love you. Good luck with your cyborg.
And then when it came to the scene with Gohan and Goku, it was just all about, this is the moment where Goku connects, full on connects with his son. tells him exactly what he needs to tell him in that moment.
And more so, it's about payoff. All of these jokes that we've made about Goku being a bad dad, it's time to like pay those off in the way that, you know, he might have been from a certain point of view, but he didn't mean to be. He wasn't trying to be a bad dad.
Yeah, he's just being
he
himself.
just wasn't good at it. It's something that he wasn't built for.
We had gotten a lot of, and I believe due criticism for how we handled the whole father.
It's like me, I could never be a dad. I'm too childish, I'm too immature. I find it hard to look after myself. I'm still figuring myself out. Like, I've always said, like, even with my ex, I was like, I don't want kids, because it's not like, it's obviously I don't want to look after them. It's just like, I don't think I could. So, like, why burden someone with me having that? Do you know what I mean? Like, anyway.
Like Goku being a bad father.
I just could not do it.
Thing. We leaned too heavily early on because that was the joke of the fandom. And that's something I've talked about, where in the first season, we were leaning into jokes that were already established because we didn't think about making our own like versions of these characters and playing that out straight. We just thought, oh yeah, you know, Goku's bad dad memes and a bunch of bullshit.
But if we hadn't leaned into that, we wouldn't have had as strong of a payoff with that scene. Like, I don't regret making the kind of jokes that we made. First of all, because, like you said, those were, like, that was the culture at the time and still kind of is now.
Yeah.
People are kind of coming back around to it.
Yeah,
but
people are finally accepting that Goku is not a terrible
No,
father.
he's not.
Just not conventional, and he struggles with it.
Yeah,
But
he's an anime dad.
yeah, he still loves his
He
son.
has difficulty
loves
with it.
his wife. He loves his family and will protect them.
He just happens to be dead and gone a lot.
Yeah.
Fly, son.
And that pretty much wraps things up. 67 episodes, 11 movies, 3 specials, over 16 hours worth of content in 3 entire seasons over 12 long years.
Crazy.
I think saying goodbye to something you've grown up with is almost always a bitter pill to swallow. Dragon Ball Z Abridged appeared during a period of time when Dragon Ball itself was almost completely absent from the mainstream zeitgeist. A fan-made parody that united old and new fans alike long before the likes of Dragon Ball Kai and Dragon Ball Super hit the airwaves. It wasn't ever encouraged by any official production in the West or in the East. It was barely even supported on YouTube.
Yeah.
And more often than not, it was an uphill battle for them. But for 12 years, they made this incredibly silly, wonderful, and heartfelt show for us all to enjoy. So, as hard as it is to say goodbye, I'll leave you with this. Thank you, Team 4-Star. You were hilarious, and we quoted everything you said.
I'm just not afraid of change, I guess. I've never been. When it comes down to it, I know they're gonna be alright. Because if I've learned anything since landing on Earth,
Big F there.
it's that everyone is stronger than they think they are. I left behind the best people in the world, and I'm happy about that. Things changed, and they're gonna keep changing. There ain't no stopping that. The most important part? Now, they can live their own lives and make their own futures. And I can't wait to see the kind of future they make.
What?
What?
I'd like to extend a special thank you to Team 4-Star for being so open and eager to participate in this project. I would also like to thank Tom O'Regan, another YouTuber who creates incredible and hilarious video game breakdowns. Without his help on this, it almost certainly wouldn't have happened in the style that it did or on time. You can check out Tom's channel here, and if you haven't seen the other parts of this series, check out part 1 on Team 4-Star's channel by clicking the prompt on screen now. But that'll do it for this week. Thank you so much for watching.
Crazy. Awesome. Really nice, though. It's nice to see as well that they didn't just, like, you know, it didn't come out of nowhere with the creator commentaries. They've generally had these thoughts going forwards, and that's really nice. And it's also cool because I think this was the first time they worked with Totally Not Mark, and then the boo bits happened, and that's cool. And I think that happened because of the behind the scenes with these. I'm sure I checked out the first 2, but whatever. I thought it'd be cool to check this out after doing all the Team 4-Star creative commentary scenes. What a way to wrap it up. And then we still got the Kai. I think they're doing Cell Versus, and they're still doing the plan to eradicate Christmas. But yeah, this year's been one hell of a weird, random behind-the-scenes journey with Team 4-Star. Where's Unabridged? And I'm going to check out Totally Not Mark's Yu Yu Hakusho reviews once I start actually reading the manga. I think that's going to be a 2024 thing. I'm downloading them and putting them into my library as they come out, so that, yeah, because I feel like with Totally Not Mark's reviews, I enjoy them more. I can't remember which series it was. There's one that I did which I hadn't actually read it and was like, I'll check it out and see if I'll, but I prefer them when I've read them myself. So I think the Yu Yu Hakusho thing is going to be a reaction series for 2024. So yeah, but anyway, thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video I upload, link is in the description to the Patreon page. $1 a month for Slash Sports Channel. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you very much for that. Thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos. I'll see you guys next time.